Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 22 of My Story, My Strength. And once again, you guys already know if you've been following me this far, you know I created this journey not just to heal my own wounds, but to reach those who feel unseen, unheard, and unprotected. Healing isn't easy, it's brutal, messy, and exhausting, but it's possible. And today's story is going to be proof of that. It's going to be a funny one, but it wasn't funny at the time. This episode includes descriptions of domestic violence and trauma. Please listen with care and take breaks if you need to. Your safety matters more than anything else. So just please make sure you take care of yourself, okay? Because today I'm going to talk about a time when I felt like I was in a really bad movie. Like this only happens on TV, you guys. Um, it was a time when I was in Vegas. It was before again. I think it was while I was still going to church. Um, and I just bought a car with my tax return because I was allowed to work here and there, but so I bought a car. He of course made sure that the car he had key to the car, everything, whatever. But I got the car basically so that I can get my kids around because I was walking everywhere and not even short distances, sometimes miles, 5, 6, 8, 9 miles walking with kids. And the heat in Las Vegas, it was not fun. So I needed a car, get them to school, get groceries, look for a job, and kind of get things, you know, going for myself. And I had a friend now who helped me in more ways than I that she actually realized emotionally at the time that I was in my life. So once again, I was trying to leave my ex-husband, and she was going to help me get out of that situation. And I just kind of hoped that it wouldn't be difficult. I hoped that he would just let me leave and understand that it was over. But no, no. He was like, "Yeah, you can go, but if you go, you're not taking that fucking car with you." And I'm just like, "I bought the car though. We bought the car. Okay, no, I bought the car." But um, he didn't care. I'm like, I'm taking care to everywhere. I do everything by myself. All you really do is play this game. You don't really need the car. You leave here, you're not taking that car. But I knew that that was just a tactic for him to make sure that I didn't leave because he didn't want me to leave. So he knew I wasn't going to try to leave the car there and not have a way and just be struggling with the kids. So um, he didn't want to make anything easy for me. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm not gonna fight with you. Whatever. I stayed in the house, made it seem like I wasn't gonna go. I waited a couple of hours and kind of let the things die down. Because again, if he'd had this car, even if he would have let me leave, he would have just used it to stalk the hell out of me or my kids. No, I'm not gonna let him keep me. So I had to figure out something. Um, I waited for him to get into his game really good, and I had my kids in the living room with me. We were watching TV. I already had some clothes put in the trunk. This is what he didn't know. I had things already put in the trunk ready to go. Um, and when I thought it was safe, I kind of rushed my kids outside to try to get them in the car, load them up or whatever. But it wasn't easy because my two younger children were still in booster seats and car seats. So I had to lock one in, tell the other one go get in there, but buckle yourself up. But he heard me. Like I don't know if he heard me, but something got him out of that car right as I was backing out of the yard. So he runs and he jumps on the car. He jumps on the hood of the car first, and then he climbs to the top of the car. He's holding on to the car like with the tips of his fingers. I don't know, like Spider Man or some weird shit. And I'm yelling at him to get off the car, but he couldn't get off the car. The kids start in the bed. They're crying. They don't understand what's going on. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. I try to force him off the car, you guys. So I start speeding down the street and I slam on my brakes. And I wasn't going slow. He didn't budge at all. Didn't work. So I tried going backwards and slamming on the brakes. Didn't move at all. I did this a couple of times until I said, okay, okay, it's not gonna stop. So um, I said, all right, I'm gonna go home. So I pull the car up in front of the house. I pull up and he gets out of the car and he's like, turn the car off. So I turn the car off. As he's getting off the car, I unlock the door. I turned the car. No, I didn't turn the car off. I put the car in park. So he's getting off. He slid off the car, and I unlocked the door. He heard me unlock the door. It just seemed like I was getting out. So he gets down, and I put the car in drive, and I just speed off. And as I look in my rearview mirror, I see him chasing me down the street, screaming, throwing stuff at the car, trying to catch me, but he didn't catch up to me. So I'm just like, okay, okay. I got away. I mean, honestly, it didn't last because he found out where I was, and it ended badly. But that's kind of one of the things that I did to try to get away from this abusive man. Sorry, trying to get this off my face so you guys can see me. Let me just pull this back. And so, I mean, this is one of the things I tried to do to get away from him. I did. And it seems funny now when we talk about it, when my kids and I talk about it, we laugh. And well, my son, he was the only one who really remembered. When I bring it up, we laugh because it's like, he was really, really, really determined to try to lock me away. But that moment made me feel like, he would never let me be free. It drilled this belief into me that I wasn't allowed to choose peace. I had to lie. I had to fight. I had to trick him just to escape and feel halfway safe. I felt guilty that my kids had to witness this chaos, even though none of it was my fault. And I believed that I needed to manipulate him to get to safety. And if I had to do that, then maybe I was not truly strong. I felt like a liar. I felt like a coward. I felt like I was just a horrible person, like I was surviving but never truly living. And it made me question if I had ever been seen as worthy of safety, trust, or of any type of calm. I didn't feel great. I felt trapped, especially because I had to, I ended up having to go back. I felt like I was trapped in a life that didn't care if I lived or died. So I do have a reflection question for you guys. Have you ever felt like you had to shrink, scheme, or run just to feel safe? What part of your truth have you been forced to hide or manipulate just to survive? And how has that shaped the way you see your own strength? Okay. So just ask yourself that question. And then I have my negative belief. My negative belief was I'm only strong when I outsmart danger, but I'll never be strong enough to face it head on. That's what I felt about myself. But I had to reframe that thought. I had to shift this by recognizing that survival is strength. The ability to think clearly under that kind of pressure, to protect your children in real time, to escape when it could have cost you your life, that's master level resilience. Survival doesn't always look bold. It doesn't always stand tall. Sometimes it looks like doing what you need to make it out alive. And that takes courage most people will never understand. So the affirmation I have for that is I did what I had to do to survive. And that makes me unstoppable. I don't owe the world a performance. I owe myself peace. Okay? So that's where we're going to go next is to a coping skill or a technique that's going to call square breathing with muscle reset. This tool helps release tension and it helps also to regulate your nervous system after a traumatic event. And this is going to be similar. All of these are similar. It's the one where you inhale for 4 seconds, clench your fists, clenching your fists, hold your breath, squeeze your shoulders and muscles for 4 seconds. Everything, squeeze everything for 4 seconds. Then exhale for 4 seconds, and then you slowly releasing your arms. Rest for 4 seconds, and then repeat for four full rounds. It connects your breath physically, and the release is it's a perfect way to release stored up trauma in your body. So you do not have to use this technique when your body feels hijacked by fear, stress, or pain. But it's something that's really just kind of forcing you to take your body back. Okay. So I have my 1 minute empowerment challenge for you guys today. Write down one sentence that describes the moment you refuse to give up, even if no one else saw it. Then say it out loud like a declaration. Record yourself speak it in a voice, like a voice note. Save it. Just save it. This is your evidence that you made it through. You made it through. And it's time that the world knows it too. It is. I mean, you don't have to do what I do. But it's time that you let the world know that you have survived some really bad things. So next is our survivor spotlight, and I am wanting to honor Miss Bell Hooks. Born Gloria Jean Watkins in 1952, Bell Hooks came into this world as a black girl in the Jim Crow South, where survival was both a daily act and a generational burden. Raised in a working class home filled with love but marked by patriarchal norms, she experienced the quiet suffocation of being told to shrink, obey, and endure. From an early age, she was taught that her voice didn't matter, that her pain was ordinary, and that being black and female meant suffering was expected, not to be named. Just take it, you know? She witnessed and endured trauma inside and outside of her home, rooted in racism, misogyny, and control. She carried the wounds of growing up poor, female, and vulnerable in a country that refused to protect or listen to Black girls. She later wrote of the ways children were silenced, beaten, and emotionally abandoned, and how pain became normalized in both private and public Black life. But Hooks was never built to stay quiet. By the time she was 19, she'd already started writing the work that would become Ain't I a Woman? Ain't I a Woman? Black Women and Feminism. So that was the name of that groundbreaking book that would dismantle the invisibility of Black women in both white feminism and Black liberation spaces. She wrote things others were too afraid to say. Unflinchingly, she called out how patriarchy harmed women in our own community, and how capitalism dehumanized love, and how systems of oppression colluded to keep us silent. Her trauma became a lens, but never a cage. Survivors like Bell Hooks take the wounds of being silenced by a system and abused by a system and emotionally dismissed and turn them into a revolution. She didn't shout for attention. She wrote with a scalpel, cutting open the layers of pain we all carry, demanding we sit still with them. Her survival wasn't loud or performative. It was scholarly, deliberate, and profound. She turned trauma into theory, grief into language, and invisibility into illumination. Miss Hooks didn't just challenge the world structures, she reimagined it in how we love. She reimaged it in how we love, learn, and heal. She called for self-recovery as political resistance and love as a radical act of survival. So she called for recovery as political resistance and for love as a radical act of survival. She made healing intellectual. She made survival spiritual. And she made it okay to feel, question, and grow. So to Miss Bell Hooks, we thank you for telling your truth when it cost you your place in rooms that feared your voice. Thank you for seeing Black girls long before the world was ready to. Thank you for writing us into existence. Your legacy lives in every survivor who dares to study their pain, to speak their truth, and believe that love can still be revolutionary. You taught us that survival isn't just staying alive, it's reclaiming who we are. We see you, we follow you, we thank you. Thank you so much. And if this story hits something in you, please don't keep it inside. Share this video, leave a comment, or DM me your rawest truth. Also, do not forget to subscribe to Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors. This channel is filled with empowerment, uplifting, and inspiration. Like tonight. Tonight, we'll be airing live for the first time on Sundays, which usually is on Thursdays, Coach Kiss. She comes on, called Kiss Corner. She comes on every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, usually Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but summer breaks, some needs to change sometime. And she is also a powerhouse who helps us understand what it means to heal. So just know that you're not alone. You're not alone, and there's someone out there who's still silent, waiting for a voice like yours to remind them that they're not crazy, they're surviving. And your story does not end in pain. It begins in power. I'm not going to stop saying that. See you tomorrow for day 23. I love you all. Stay strong.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I